Did you write the first two episodes? Did you write the first two episodes as a feature-length movie?
No.
Because they could be in a way.
No. I wrote the pilot. We shot the pilot. Then there was about 6 months of when the HBO decided whether or not to do it. And then once they decided to do it, we had to come up with 12 more hours.
So HBO paid for the pilot.
Right.
You wrote the script on spec, or?
No, I wrote the script. Actually, Fox originally paid for the pilot.
Oh, really?
Yeah, Brillstein Gray, that's the way it works in TV. Brillstein Gray is a development company. Brillstein Gray paid me a salary.
To do this pilot?
Fox, I wrote it for Fox. Mm-hmm. Fox reimbursed them for the price of a pilot. Mm-hmm. So that then offsets my salary or anybody on a development deal.
Right.
And the script existed. And now I don't know whether Fox had to be paid off once HBO decided to take it on, or whether they had lost their...
Fox passed they said, we're not going to do the pilot. We're not going to shoot a pilot.
Right, we're not going to shoot it.
And so then Brillstein Gray took it elsewhere. And
they took it to, I think, all the networks, actually, and they all passed.
Well, it was fortuitous, wasn't it?
Tremendously.
Because I think we've talked about this, but one of the things that I think makes the show so effective is that there are no interruptions, which gives it the feeling of a movie. You're not, it doesn't seem like a television show at all on any level, because what's associated with television is commercial interruptions. The fact that there aren't any, and it's so intense, there's this sense of suspense in every show.
But it's interesting because you say it's intense, but it's very slow moving.
It doesn't seem to be.
But if you think about it, it is very, very slow moving, much more than a television show. Television shows are...
But that's one of the things that is interesting, because that's one of the things that I think makes it work so well, is that there is an built-in sense of suspense to the show. I've sat there and I've watched these, all of them, in a short amount of time recently, and I get this feeling of tension in each episode. Builds and builds and builds, and one of the things you know as well as I do, better than I do, writing television episode, you write 7 acts because you're going to have 7 commercial interruptions.
In 2 hours.
In 2 hours.
Yeah.
Which means that you're constantly building to a climax, because you got to go to a climax in order to go to a commercial.
Right, an hour show, it's 4 acts.
All right, so 4 acts. That means that you would have to go to 4 climaxes, because generally speaking, before you go to a commercial, you want to give them a cliffhanger. You don't do that in this show.
Well, even I think in network television, you can just, when you cut to the commercial, that's somehow, now it's gotten to the fact, that makes it a cliffhanger. You can go out on the guy drinking a cup of coffee, you go to the commercial, you think, gee, that must have been significant.
Yes, right.
A sip of coffee.
But isn't there
because those rhythms just become built into people.
Sure, but isn't there a kind of unspoken, as you're writing a show that's going to be interrupted, there has to be some sense of, we're going to go to a commercial here, that you sort of, you as a writer, you think about that. Mm-hmm. Whereas in this, what I think is so effective is that you don't get that feeling of being manipulated into a certain climax.
Well, I guess that was operating, but for me, that wasn't the main difference. The main difference was, gee, we can tell these stories at a different pace. We can have them build slowly, for one thing. We can have them build really quickly. The other thing was, we don't have to explain everything like in a network. It really is the old Hollywood adage: tell them what they're going to see, show it to them, and then just tell them what they just saw.
Right.
We don't do that anymore. As I really took that to heart.
That's a big
and
deal.
Also, I felt that, the movies I like best are movies where, as I said, movies, not television shows, because I don't think this happens. Something happens in Act 1. Someone says something, and then you see a pattern of this recurring. Someone says something, either you see the guy contradict what he said, or how you need to bring stuff. It's active watching or something. You need to bring every little piece of information you're given to the watching of the entire thing, especially with European movies. Mm-hmm. That's really essential. Mm-hmm.
But I feel that in this series.
That's what I thought. Well, boy, it'll be great to do that.
Well, you do it.
It'll be fun for us to do that.
You do that, and it's wonderful, because there are things that are not paid off for several episodes. There's things that you pay off in the 13th episode. The ducks are paid off again. In fact, you bring them back in a funny way, and you connect that. And then there's things that pay off in the 13th episode that really connects the whole 13 hours.
But even within the hour, I feel that that's true.
It is
I
true.
feel that that's true. That to me is that's always been my favorite kind of movie since I became, adult or something, or since I was my late teens.
Yes.
I've always liked that kind of thing where little clues are given to you. I don't mean like a corny detective
No,
movie.
I know what you mean.
just
I know what you mean. It's human things.
It's human things, and that in the end, it's still a puzzle, even though it's over. You're still going, gee, I wonder why that character behaved like that.
Yes. Well, that you get a lot of that in this series, which is unusual on American television. It's unusual in American movies by now.
I think it is, yeah.
Yeah.